Hi everyone, welcome to the first video of my new YouTube series, Bite-Sized Jane Austen. And the title of this first video is Why Sense and Sensibility is Not as Sad as You Think. So today I'm going to be talking about the moment in chapter 6 of Sense and Sensibility where the Dashwood women first arrive at their new home in Barton Cottage. So I have always thought of this bit in the novel as just being nothing but sad and melancholic. And in many ways, it is that. So they have just been kicked out of the house by their brother. They are moving to a much smaller place. And so it's only natural that we feel pity for them for everything that they have lost and will never get back. And it's definitely sad. So the Dashwood women cry as they are leaving Norland because they are so afraid that they are never going to feel at home anywhere else. And they cry again when they see Barton Cottage and they compare it to the much nicer home that they have left behind. Okay, pretty sad stuff so far, I'll admit it. But as I was writing my PhD, I realized that we can read this moment as being more than just about loss and dispossession. So once the Dashwood women actually arrive in Barton Cottage, the mood changes. The cottage is well positioned around beautiful nature. The view of Barton Village from the windows is described as being really nice. The people welcome them, so the servants are very happy to see them. Their cousin and landlord welcomes them with presents of meat and fruit. But even more important than what other people do to make them feel at home, it's the things that the Dashwood women do in order to feel so. So this might not seem like such a big deal, but it really is. So Mrs. Dashwood, the moment she arrives, she starts thinking about all the structural changes that she's going to do to the house. So she starts thinking about all the construction work that she's going to be doing there. But her daughters know that there is no way she's ever going to be able to afford it. They are on a much lower income now. So instead, Eleanor and Marianne focus on what they can actually do. And Austen writes, "In the meantime, till all these alterations could be made from the savings of an income of $500 a year by a woman who had never saved in her life, they were wise enough to be contented with the house as it was, and each of them was busy in arranging their particular concerns and endeavoring by placing around them their books and their possessions to form themselves a home. Marianne's pianoforte was unpacked and properly disposed of, and Eleanor's drawings were affixed to the walls of their sitting room." Now, I love this bit in the novel. Austen chooses every word so carefully. You could very easily miss the expression form themselves a home, but it's so important. So form implies organization, shaping, building of a space. Themselves, this indicates that this is a personalized occupation of space. The decorative choices are expressions of the women's identities. Home, my absolute favorite word in the English language, implies an emotional attachment towards the place, and also permanence, so forming a connection that they mean to be long-lasting. And it's important that the Dashwood women feel like this, since they have just been kicked out of their old home. And arranging and placing around this implies the organization of objects in space that, as the personal pronoun there indicates, is a personalized one. So it depends on the particular taste and ingenuity of the decorator. So the Dashwood women here are expressing their identities and creating a space that could not have been put together by anyone else. And in doing so, they make the cottage feel like it's their own, even though legally it's never going to be because they're just renting it. And if you have ever rented a house, then you know what this feels like, and you know how important the way in which you decorate it and occupy it can be. So I remember the first day that I arrived into the UK, and I saw the very bare, empty room in which I would be living. And the very first thing I did was decorated with all my family pictures and with all of the objects that had an emotional significance for me. And so Austen shows how the patriarchy can take so much away from women. So they made a home for themselves at Norland, and yet their baby male nephew, who is already stupendously rich, is going to get Norland instead of them, which is so unfair. But most importantly for me, Austen shows the women resisting these limitations. So if you want to find out more about this, you can order my book, Women and Property Ownership in Jane Austen, in the link that I'm going to leave below. I'm going to be doing one of these videos every month, so I will see you for the next one in January. And until then, stay well and keep reading.